Not only has she been a fitness trainer for 16 years, but she also runs a successful business helping women work out and have fun doing it. This experience has led our Studio 5 fitness contributor Emily Nelson to form strong and credible opinions in the field of exercise and wellness, and we asked her to cut to the chase and convince me with her knowledge. Welcome, Emily.
Yeah.
That's sounds like a tall order to
I know. I was like, okay, let's go. I'm ready.
She can do it. And we also have our pink dresses on. Everybody who's here today has it. Okay, so your first core belief as a fitness instructor is you won't stick with a fitness routine unless you like it. I can attest to this because I've started and given up many times.
Yes, I'm like facts, double facts, and I will put my stamp of approval on this. If you are not enjoying your fitness routine, if you are not having fun, you will not stick with it. And that's just like, there's so many ways to move your body. If you're feeling like in a rut and not having fun, it's time to move on, because success in fitness and overall health will only come when it's being enjoyed. And I just believe that's gonna look different for everyone, but I believe it with my whole heart. But with that being said, it's not always gonna be, I call it like love at first sight. I love my husband, love you, Hank, but it was not love at first sight for us. It was more of what I like to call a slow burn, you know, to fall in love. And that's how it can be for fitness. I've taken a class and been like, during it, you're like, this is kind of not fun. I don't know what's happening. But then you find yourself later being like, I kind of like that. Or I like the way I felt after. Maybe I want to try that again. So don't rule anything out the first time. Go 2 or 3 times. But then if you're not into something, or if you just feel like you've been in a grind, you need to be having fun or you just won't stick with it. So.
Yes, I agree. And I like, so 2 or 3 times, we'll give it a good hearty try, and then we can decide, okay.
Yeah.
And your next one kind of goes along with that. You're saying movement is movement, because I think that goes along with it, because if there's something we enjoy doing and it involves movement, maybe that can count as our exercise?
Yes, absolutely. And I think what happens is when we really get into a set fitness routine, so say we're like been in a fitness routine forever, or we're starting anew, we get really set on it needs to be this amount of minutes or hours, or we have to do this type of exercise, or I didn't work out today. And it's really hard for us to drop that mentality. I think a lot of people are like so used to working out that they think this way, but movement is movement. So it can be as simple as going on a walk with a good friend and having a good therapeutic chat while you're walking, cleaning your house. I mean, yesterday I was mopping and I think I was working sweat, taking your grandkids to the park. Like, all of these things are functional movement. And isn't that what we want when it comes to longevity with our overall health? And so I think even if you have 10 minutes to throw on some clothes and do something, the first 5 minutes is always like, do I want to do this? But usually you end up wanting to move longer. And if it looks like 10 minutes or 30 minutes or wherever it takes you, it counts. And let's get rid of that, like it has to be this and it has to be this for it to count, because any movement is good movement, functional movement, skiing, hiking, you know, all those different things, playing tennis, going to the park, those are all good movement.
And going along with that, you're saying just something is better than nothing.
Yes.
So even if it is going to the park with your kids, if you're moving, better than nothing.
Yes, because it still produces kind of those endorphins, you know, and the longer we're sedentary, because we think like, oh, I can't get in a workout today, but I can, you know, go outside for a minute and move my body and walk around the block or go to the park, that's still going to produce those endorphins. And
okay, and the next one, you are trying to change our brains. So good luck with this. We're all working on this.
I'm good on that.
Working out is not about how you look.
Yep, that's going to be the toughest one. So I'm going to keep here preaching it, because in the media, in the mainstream, we're seeing it over and over and over. So I teach a stretch class, and one of the tracks in it is called hardcore. And I always say, we say at the beginning, it's not about getting a 6-pack. That is so 2000s. We say it's about getting a hardcore from the inside out. So we can do functional movements like lift our groceries, lift our kids, you know, go on that hike and make it. It's about functional, and so we want to be heart healthy, and we want to be able to run and do things and be able to gain strong muscles so that we can be functional, not to look a certain way. And I think what happens is when we go after a physical goal, we feel like we've hit failure because we're set up for success. Because a lot of times with those physical goals comes a very extreme set of circumstances that have to be followed. And So, and that's usually not happening. And so then we think we failed. Whereas if we take an overall healthy approach to movement and going after it for the right reasons, you're going to feel success and you're going to realize why you love to move rather than going after a goal, failing, feeling like you've got to start over. So going for a physical goal is so 2000. That's what I'm going to say.
So 2000. I'm totally going to adopt that. And I think too, as I'm aging and my friends are aging and some of them are starting to get grandkids, that is something that's so important because you're like, I want to be able to do things with my kids, with my grandkids. They're going on a hike. I want to be able to go. And we maybe are seeing our parents or grandparents who have deteriorated to the point they can't do that.
Yeah, and if you've overtrained your whole life, you're going to hit that point at a younger age where you really have ailments. And so it's really taking this, even at a younger age, looking at it and being like, what do I want to be able to do and what's going to keep me there? I've got to keep moving. I've got to keep experiencing and learning, which fits right into my next one, I think.
You're never too old. And a little later in the show, we're going to talk about kind of picking up new things as you're older. But you're saying you're never too old for exercise.
Yes, and if someone, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but if someone tells you you're too old to do something when it comes to movement, I will fight them because I think you are never too old and we have to keep moving. That's like the key to success and health and happiness is moving. And so I know I'm not old, but what I'm saying is I've even tried, my life is so jam-packed full of movement, to be honest, that sometimes I'm like, I can't fit anything new in and just because of the nature of my job. But I've given myself the goal to like do different things. And I tried cross-country skiing this winter and I was like, this is so fun. I laughed so hard. I was sore. Who knew you'd get so sore? I've also like started renting pickleball courts and I want to start going with friends just as like new fun things. And I always say, if you try something new and you bring a friend, either number one, you find out you love something you had no idea, or number two, you have a good story. And who doesn't love a good story?
Or you get a good laugh, right?
Always. I don't think I've ever not laughed through like trying something new. And I think you go in feeling very nervous. Like even me, I've gone into new gyms and been like, I feel nervous and I'm even a fitness professional. And you always are like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I tried something new.
And your last one is just making a plan because you're saying if you don't make a plan, it won't happen.
Yeah. So I don't want to like contradict myself and being like too rigid, but also it is not selfish to make a plan and to schedule in your movement and your appointments, just like an appointment, and take time for yourself. For me, everybody's different, but for me, I have to do it in the morning or it's not going to happen. Once I'm dressed and ready, like I can come up with every excuse or every meeting or kids thing falls to prevent me from doing it. So I like to do it in the morning, but some people like to go straight from work. That's their routine. Or in the evening once they, get things settled at home. Whatever works for you, but make a plan because that way you're going to be successful. My number one tip is always have an accountability partner. When someone's waiting for you, counting on you, it just makes you step it up a certain time, a timer going off in your phone, but always being prepared is the best thing you can do.
That's the key. All right. Thank you so much. Where can people get more from you, Emily?
Yes. So I'm HighFitnessEmily on Instagram or we're at highfitness.com. So.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.